we have the S TJ Rogers Pro model. All right. Kind of a big deal because most of us would know that S hasn't released a original Pro model in well over a decade. So congrats to TJ for him getting this. It's, you know, for S and TJ, I guess this would be kind of a big deal. So support would be important. So we get the traditional red S box, classic identifier. And yes, I already skated them for a couple of hours, so there's going to be some wear marks, just so I could know fit, feel, testing, and all that stuff. We just get the classic S tissue paper. With this being their first Pro model that's original, I feel like they could have maybe gone a little bit more with the box and wrapping paper and all that. I mean, they did it for Muska, they did it for Krager, they did it for Tom Penny, so they could have done it for him, but it is what it is. Standard lacing is this off-white look, which matches the off-white mesh that you get in the heel portion, the tongue liner, and an off-white reinforcement of leather underneath the triple stitch toe cap. Alternate black laces, and they are oval style laces. I do kind of like this look better. It's not often you like the backup laces better than the original, but I do like that. So this shoe, when it comes to weight, when it comes to all that, kind of think Krager, the S Krager a little bit, but not quite as heavy, not quite as difficult to skate if you're not used to skating bigger, bulkier shoes. This is mostly suede throughout instead of, you know, having panels like a rubber toe cap or a heel bag or anything like that that could add weight. We do have just a mesh portion here, leather, and this little accent, and leather to underlay the toe box. The rest of the shoe is mesh. Up on the eyelet panel here is thermoplastic rubber, which would add support to the on like top of the foot portion of the shoe. Underneath, if you blow out laces quick, you still get right here and all throughout from top to bottom, you get internal lace loops. So there's that. If you blow out laces, you go through both pairs, whatever, you don't feel like changing the color of the laces, you can do internal lace loops, and that should last you for the life of the shoe. When it comes to fit, it does have like a wider type of body. You can see the toe box, you can see the width of the shoe itself. Fits kind of wide, very comfortable right off the bat. There's no pointiness to the toe box or anything like that. It's got a very good flick. Triple stitched in the high wear areas. The rest of the shoe, besides the leather panel here, are double stitched. Just little aesthetics and identifiers. You would, looking at this, get late 90s, early 2000s type of aesthetic to it, which is totally TJ's style, so it just makes sense. Think, you know, circa CX 201s or Appleyard Pro models, various DC shoes throughout that time period. Think that. There is a kind of like a little 298 style swoop around the heel portion. It kind of shares the same look for the sole. This portion right here does kind of like bump out a little bit, so your heel obviously doesn't go all the way back here. In fact, the padding for the heel probably pushes your foot a little bit forward, which is why certain people would probably get away with wearing a half size up. Or if you like your foot tight from heel to toe all the way throughout here, you can go true to size. I feel like you can get away with both. Obviously, if your local shops have them in stock, just try them on. I felt like after a couple of hours of skating them, the suede did kind of relax out a little bit, so it felt bigger somewhat to me. So I would probably go true to size myself. These are a half size up, but again, like I could still skate both of them. As far as the sole, different type of tread patterns, but they keep the whole thing just completely flat. There's no raised or bumps or anything like that. There's no large separations or anything where like you feel like you might catch your foot on the middle of the board or something like that. Anything that would disrupt you, like nothing in the back of your mind that would kind of mess with how it feels on the board. So it's completely flat, very sticky type of rubber, good grip on the board, good tread patterns. Looks like it would probably last you a decent amount of time, to the point where you definitely blow out the toe box and all that before you go bald through the actual footbed. As far as that goes, when it comes to board feel, I would say that's kind of in the medium range. It's not like a Scheme or a Krager to where you don't know where your board is, definitely under your feet, but you can make it work. And it's definitely not something like a low cut or a Scam where you know exactly where your foot is. In fact, you know where all the grains of your grip tape are. So that's how the board feel is. When it comes to, for this colorway, the Insole, I guess this is the BB colorway, which is his Pomsky. So that's pretty cool. They didn't give you the very cheap perforated footbeds, and they don't have like the removable arch support, so there is a good amount of cushion to this. But as far as the inside here, they didn't use a traditional molded polyurethane insole. They used something called E-bound, which is 30% lighter and has a lot more rebound to it, so where it's gonna last longer than a polyurethane molded insole or footbed. So you're gonna be able to take gaps, drops, abrasions a little bit better. It's going to be more comfortable on foot, and you can actually feel it too. Like this does have a little bit more spring to it when you push in, versus like your classic Excel or anything like that that's using a polyurethane poured support, where it's going to be a little bit harder on foot. This one is a little bit more cushiony, so it's going to feel better for gaps and all that. It also makes the shoe lighter, which is good because this sole kind of does have like a bottom heavy feel to it, especially back here. There's a lot of rubber going on. So this shoe is built like a tank, built to last. There's also a kind of like a mock runner's toe, where it doesn't really stick out. It's just kind of like bumped out a little bit through here and just kind of raises up a little bit. Gives you definitely a runner's toe type of look, looking like when you're looking down at the shoe, but nothing like a Costin 2 or anything like that, where, you know, people were crying about that when the 298 came out. Also, the leading edge in the effective part, where you would be ollieing or doing anything like that, does kind of bump out. You can see it there. So if I held my hand even, it does kind of angle out a little bit, whereas like this area is just kind of flat up. so it does curve out a little bit. I don't know if that would, when it comes to like ollieing or anything like that, if that helps. But I didn't feel like it would inhibit anything. So, in fact, the shoe felt really good straight out the box. It's just, you know, paneling and a good overall shoe. The price point for, I don't know, most shops is around $125, which is competitive with a lot of other shoes out there on the market, like a Nike Dunk, which isn't a pro model, so Nike's not paying royalties to anybody, so, and the toe panel and all that, it's also double stitched and all that stuff, so you're getting less quality of a shoe than you are for this TJ Rogers pro model, which he's going to make a little bit of money off of. So more important to the skateboard industry than the other shoe that I was mentioning. Pretty much straightforward, just a lot of panels, good overall shoe. Important to get and support for S and TJ Rogers, pretty much. And skates very, very good right out of the box. Will not disappoint. So go ahead and go out and get them.